programs. Obligatory. It's been a little while, but yeah, I am still around. I do still plan on making videos. Just right now with my new job and stuff, it's not as consistent as I would like. But to make up for the fact that I'm not around as much, I figured we'd go ahead and look at something, at least in my opinion, crazy awesome. So, as usual, I can't be dramatic here. Yeah, the thumbnail and title and everything already spoiled. We're looking at Kingdom Commander Class Rodimus. And I love this thing. I love this thing so much. Just to get this out of the way, while, yes, Starscream, Megatron, Shockwave, Soundwave, like, those are my four core, characters I follow. Roddy here is the one and only Autobot that I truly, truly love. And this is the dream Space Winnebago figure that, has been just what I wanted for years. I'm so glad to have this thing. It's so cool, in my opinion. As you can see, obviously, Space Winnebago. It's really, really big. Mind you, this is a Commander class figure, obviously. It is massive. He does have all his stuff stored. Funny thing we'll go over when we get to his hands and transformation. Swords down here. You know what? Let's go ahead. We'll pop him off and just talk about the trailer for a moment. Because this thing's awesome. This thing's really cool. And probably should get this out of the way. I don't have most of his blast effects. I've mentioned this before. I'll mention it again. I don't really care about blast effects all that much. I gave most of them away that came with him. I just have a couple of the, really specific ones kept around. So, to get to those, we will start by opening up the panel back here. Which, just for demonstration and sake of saying I can, I'm actually storing the special, a bunch of stuff from Hotrod as well. So, let me get out the Hotrod bits here. Yes, I've got Hotrod handy for some, comparisons. But these are the blast effects that I ended up keeping from this guy. The obvious, Matrix shine thing. Something to mention, though, all the other blast effects before this figure, when they were coming out, they were, pretty soft. This is completely stiff and rigid plastic, unlike the others. So you will want to be a little more careful storing these, as, this one, if I push on it, it just bends, it moves out of the way. This one, if I push on it, it's gonna break. So, something to keep in mind. We'll get to this later too. But these are kind of the special blast effects that came with this guy, so I did make sure I kept these. They do actually peg in, or kind of slot in this little tray. So, just kind of watch look at the tip of them. That'll tell you which side it goes in. There's two 5mm ports as well. And you can see little nubs there that the back side of this blast effect pegs into. So there's all that. Effects ports back here if you want, whatever. I don't go over all this kind of stuff normally because there's just so many options and possibilities. I can't bother going over all of them. Sorry. But you do see here, you've got a little effects port sticking out right there. There's kind of a weird little port going on in these big ones. Let's go ahead and line that up in the middle one. You can see you've got, smoke building out of the smokestacks. Looks cool. I like that. I know some people don't. I do. Obviously, while you've got him in his standalone car mode, because it's a little triple thing, you can plug these directly onto the car mode as well. I know, black backdrop, black effect. It's not showing up very well on the camera, but there you go. There it is. you get to, obviously, they're cool. Thing to note about the trailer, a lot of people have been having issues getting it to actually stay closed. This is like a big deal that's been going on since this guy came out. As I understand, part of it is making sure you transform the turret that's inside here a certain way. And in the case of mine, I just kind of had to keep squeezing it. You know, the trailer was actually like open in the box, and so it pushed down a little bit on the side, so I just kind of had to, you know, just apply some pressure, hold it for a little while, let my hands warm up the plastic kind of thing. It's not as big a deal as people make it out to be. As you can see, it's still fighting me a little bit. It's not a big deal. There's a little panel in the front here that opens while it's in this mode. You can come back here, raise this up. There's little actual, like, you know, they don't do anything, but they look cool. Pistons here. I really like that touch. You can come in here, get a hold of this, fold this panel down. It does have the nubs here to, you know, connect it to other bases from, you know, the Kingdom and Earthrise line and everything. I like that little touch. I have also stored his blaster in here. Blaster just folds up and just drops in the back. I find it's the easiest way to store it. But, and I know we're going back and forth a lot here, these two pegs on either side of the car mode are actually spaced out just enough. And you can see these pegs are different lengths. You can peg this in on the side of the car, either side. Just make sure you get, you know, have the wide part here forward. So that's one of your many storage options. There are ways to get this into the little tray underneath as well. Like, it's a figure with a trailer. It is all about the storage, let's be honest. There's a million ways you can store stuff on this guy. Obviously, the big important thing with a Rodimus trailer is you go ahead, you open it up. Okay. And unlike me, you make sure that this little piece actually opened up and came down. Most of the time, they'll just kind of ride that little orange, you know, track spot down to go out. It doesn't always, so if this is like getting stuck on you, yeah, just make sure this goes out. Spring loaded, as you can see. I'm rusty at this, I know, thoughts are not gathered. Whatever, this thing's fun. I'm gonna have fun with it. Anyway, go ahead, grab this whole back section here. It will very, very loudly here in a second. Yeah, unpeg, it'll just flop down. Go ahead and fold this down. It won't sit completely flush. It will be angled up a little bit, but that way it's out so you can plug stuff into it. Come back here and bring this up. There's a little notch right there in the middle, actually, that will line up with this turret. So, you know, keep that in mind. Again, if you're having things not lining up quite right, make sure you've got that plugged in all the way. Then we can go ahead. For now, we'll just straighten the turret up, bring up the handles, and open up these little blast panels. I've seen some people, when they're putting this thing like into its folded up mode, they're folding these down like this. You do want to fold them forward, not down, because I don't know how well this shows on camera, but they're a tiny bit narrower when they're folded up, and there's more clearance around them. Whereas if they're down, they're actually going to keep this from laying completely flush, you know, when you fold it down and things don't fit. So just keep that in mind. Also go ahead and fold that little piece down. This is also just attached by a 5mm peg on the bottom, so you can, you know, move it to, you know, any of these million other positions on here. Obviously, when the trailer is closed, you've got this peg and these two, so you can, you know, peg this on the top, do stuff with it. This is the right width, actually, to sit between these little notches while it's folded up. Like, that's kind of this thing's a little overwhelming to talk about, simply because this figure is like Play Gimmicks, the toy. It is insane how dense this trailer is with things you can do, ways to mess with it. It's awesome. I love it. I'm going to pull this thing off for a second because there's something else you can do with it. We're effectively done with the trailer though, so I'll just go ahead and let you just take a look at how many stinking 5mm ports there are on this thing. Like, they overachieved here. I love it. It's ridiculous. So, go ahead. Get that out of the way. And we will finally get into Rodimus himself. Obviously, like I mentioned, the sword store's on the bottom here. So we'll just go ahead and pop this off really quick. There's two little notches on either what's about to be the leg. You can see the slot in there. There also is a little 5mm port here that you can push out to, peg it into the million pegs on the, the trailer itself. You can even peg this into the little bottom compartment if you put it in diagonally. So, again, there's so many things on this thing, it's hard to cover every single possibility. I'm just going to rattle off the ones I can think of. But before we actually get into transforming this guy, the reason that I grabbed this out, one of the funnier little things you can do with this, you'll see you've got this 5mm port, and when this is folded up, a little tab comes out. Yeah, those fit into this tab, which is actually how he stays in the trailer. Which means, crap, I gotta grab the trailer again. 1 second. Yeah, probably should have mentioned, there's a little black section in here. It's, spring-loaded. That's how he stays, connected to the trailer, is he just pushes in, and this will push up and then slot into that tab there. So, there you go. That's how this thing works. Again, there's a lot to this thing. It justifies the Commander class, price point. But, yeah, you can actually take this. I think I'll have to move this a little bit just to get it out of the way. But you can actually peg this into the back of the car mode. It's completely ridiculous, but it can be done if you want to for whatever reason. Obviously, this is more for the robot mode, but it does technically work here. As you can see, the car mode is really, really good in my opinion. It's a little weird on how high it is off the ground, but, that's really minor, frankly. Kind of weird thing about this guy, he is one of the few figures in recent years that comes in vehicle mode and not in robot mode. So, to anyone who's like, why don't you just start in the mode that they're in the box and transform them, the other way? I am this time. And just for comparison, here he is beside the Studio Series Hotrod, which is, more or less the closest, the most matching figure out there on the market to go with them. So you can see he is substantially bigger than the Hotrod figure. Like, I wouldn't even say this is a Voyager class figure. This guy in particular feels leader class. I know most of the leader class figures lately have been Voyagers with some extra stuff to put on them. This thing is so stinking heavy, it feels like it's a Voyager figure that already has the extra stuff on it. It doesn't convey through the camera, but if anyone has messed with this thing, they can confirm this is a shockingly dense car. It's actually impressive. I love the paint on it. Looks great. Sculpted stuff everywhere. Let's get into transformation. I'm trying to keep this video from being a million years long. But, go ahead. Unpeg these little panels right here. Fold them all the way up, and they will at least try to peg in right there. I need to work on mine a little bit to get them to peg more solidly. But bring those up, peg them in. I like to then just grab this, bring it up and turn it around. Gets it out of the way for now. Come to the sides here and start wiggling free the arms. There is a peg right here that's pegging in on this underside right here, as well as obviously this is pegging in 2 places down here. This is a very peg-heavy figure. This thing holds together. It's impressive. But we'll go ahead and just bring the arms down like this, get them out of the way for now. Really quick, we'll do the legs. Just go ahead and unpeg them from each other. I swear there is a slot and a peg here. Again, black. Not the most thought out thing. I have no way of changing my background color. Go ahead and bring the wheel section out a little bit, and it will unpeg from this section. So you can go ahead and open this up and extend the leg all the way. It is on, like, basically a triple hinge here. The silver sections here will end up being your double jointed knee, and then this one will lock in place. Go ahead and you'll actually go to the wheel and collapse it down in. You can see the track here on the back. Then you'll fold this in. Fold this in, and the wheel will stick out right there. And go ahead and you can see there's a little sort of tab here that will try to peg in right there. It's not the most secure connection, but it works. Then just fold out the foot. And over here, same thing, but with less talking, so you can see how actually quick and easy it is. Yeah, never underestimate the the time you save by shutting up and just transforming. Anyway, go ahead and rotate them around here at the waist. Take this panel and bring it down. It will unpeg from underneath the windshield right there. This whole torso will come down. You'll go ahead and take this orange top section and just fold it in a little bit more. It'll peg into the chest proper. Bring this down. Come to the back here, and worth noting, it looks like this part here is hinged, because you can see the pin in there and everything. That is not actually a hinge. That's just assembly. So it can take a little bit of fighting, but you want to get everything here out of the way. So you can fold the arms up and spin everything around on this panel, or this, I guess, double mushroom peg, actually. Then you can see you've got, a hinge here, here, here. You're going to bring these down and accordion them up. And then this tab here will peg in right there, which on mine is a very tight connection, so this might take me a second. There we go. Same thing over here. Bring all this down, and there we go. Kind of straighten the arms out a little bit. And then the best way I find to deal with the chest section is you'll want to bring this down all the way, and this little piece right here, you can see that little slot, will peg in just over that little nub that's sticking up there. Go ahead, get that first, and then the rest of the chest will, basically just fall into place. Then you can come back here. I appreciate into the clear plastic, they put this extra gray piece. This gray piece will plug onto this piece to hold the windshield in place for robot mode. Again, it's a tight connection, but it's not stressing the clear plastic. It's going into the opaque plastic. So This guy will scare you a little bit when you first mess with him, but then you realize there's not much actually stressing on this windshield. It should be okay. Even same with the spoiler. The spoiler is molded in clear blue plastic, as you can see by these little pieces sticking out, and then painted yellow. But again, it's like reinforced. It's not really thin and hollow. It's actually pretty sturdy. Should be fine. Anyway, slot here in the windshield, 3 little pegs sticking out right there. Fold this up, and eventually you'll get those to line up and peg in. Then for the arms, the step I actually didn't realize for a long time is go ahead and just pull the arm out. That one little bit gives you just a nice little bit of extra clearance that you will need later for posing him. Come here and fold this panel up. It's not really pegged in here. It's just a really tight joint, so hence my struggle. Rotate this around. Yes, you can see he's doing the thing. You actually need to do this with his hands to transform him, because you need the index finger out of the way. But then if you have him do a full fist, these fingers get in the way. So out of the box, yeah, he's doing that, which I love. But anyway, go ahead, take this little section here, fold it in, and it'll have to fold down a little bit to do that. Then you'll take that tab, peg it in right there. And then there's another tab on the underside of this, right, that will go in right there. And finish off his arm. So, same thing here. Pull it out. Open, rotate, fold in, tab, tab. And yeah, there you go. There you have Kingdom Rodimus in his robot mode. And I love this thing. As you can see, very, kind of aged looking face sculpt, which, it works really well in my opinion. I love the way that face works. The chest is really popping in this mode, with that little black outline. Now that you can see the whole flame detail. Nice tampographed Autobot insignia in the middle there. You still got the yellow from the headlights. You get new little silver bits on the shoulders. There's a lot to gush about in this robot mode. Let's go ahead and straighten out his hands so he's not doing the thing anymore. And really quick, because comparisons are, sometimes a thing on this channel. Here he is alongside the Studio Series Hotrod. Since, again, these two are effectively made to go together, even though they're from different lines. So you can see, yeah, bit of a glow up there. Goes from, the nice young-looking face to the aged, wrinkled, wrinkled. I know it's metal, it can't wrinkle, but the mature face, they look fantastic together. Obviously, I'm sure most people have seen, you put your Hot Rod in front, have him holding the Matrix here, then give this guy the Matrix in the back, holding it up overhead, pull your Arise Rodimus Prime poses out. So, there's that out of the way really quick. Obviously, before we do anything else too much further, just to show, yes, you can still shove this on his back and, do this if you want to for some reason. Credit where it's due, it's actually pretty easy to get him to stand, even with all this crap hanging off of his back, so that's kind of neat. Also, I just realized I forgot to step in his transformation. I'm sure people have already been screaming in the comments. Weirdest step I've seen, but actually kind of cool. The front wheels are hinged, so you'll just spin them a bit till you find the opening. Bring the opening forward, close the wheel in, and then tab it in right there on the shoulder so the wheel stops spinning. pretty neat little thing. I don't know why they bothered, but at the same time, it does, it's cool. I like it. It's neat. It's a thing he does. Might as well do it. um, I know, again, this video is kind of all over the place. This is a figure that does a lot. There's no way I can cover all of it. I'm trying to cover as much as I can think of. Which means, before I forget, we'll go ahead and show that if you undo this panel here in the chest, which on my copy pegs in really tight, and then fold the whole, hood section down, he does have a matrix of leadership in his chest. It is removable, as you would expect. You can, put this in it if you pull it out. I'm not going to bother just because it can be tricky for, zombie fingers here to get this out and put it back in, but it's there. You can do that if you want to. He can light our darkest hour. Awesome. Poseability on this guy is actually insane. So you've got a ball joint at the neck itself, and then kind of this the neck section here that's in what looks like a work, like a polo shirt or something. That shifts as well. So between the two, you actually end up getting a really, really good range of motion. You just have to kind of know which one to move first so that things don't get interfered with. Head can tilt a little bit, not a ton. It can rotate all the way around if you, again, just play with things to, keep the shirt collar, section from interfering with that, very, very large chin. He actually has a butterfly joint on the shoulder, which is awesome. Hotrod technically has that, but you have to, not peg everything together all the way to really use it. So, yeah, it's nice that this guy can actually just use his butterfly joint. You do get a full rotation, not counting the fact that this will get in the way. Shoulders can go out basically all the way, but he will smack himself in the side of the head, such as the issue with any figure that has these kind of shoulder spikes, to be honest. Double jointed elbow, so you get effectively the full range of motion there. The wrist actually can bend inward, as well as having full rotation. Index finger has 2 joints, and then the other 3 fingers have 2 joints as well. So you can, and on mine these joints are very tight, so there's a reason I'm struggling here, but you can get him to do a full fist. Have him just stand there doing a point if you want. Lot of options there. No ab crunch or anything, but he does still have a waist swivel. There is a movable side skirt here, so he ends up being able to kick forward all the way, back a little ways, not much. Side skirt will move out to let him do, pretty wide kick. You can get a little more if you turn the leg first. Then, like I mentioned, you do have a double jointed knee, so depending on how you move those joints, you do have a pretty deep range. Not the full range again, but a really good range either way. Oh, and this piece, I think I technically forgot these pieces, but yeah, you want to fold these pieces up. They'll usually just kind of fold themselves up, and so I forget them. But yeah, there's pieces that you fold up under the chest. Yay for busy figures. Yeah, ankle actually has, not the deepest rock, but it does have a rock, as well as you actually have forward and back motion between the toes and the foot itself. And if you bring it forward a bit, obviously you can unlock the full sideways articulation in that foot, or that ankle. So, yeah, this guy ends up being just ridiculously posable. Obviously, he can use his weapons, but you have to keep in mind that, he has an actual hand. So you have to open the hand, pop the weapon in there, go ahead and give him the sword. Because you can see even no other figure is going to be holding this sword, because, there is no way to just slot it through the hand. It's got this extra notch at the bottom of the hilt. So you have to actually open the hand, close his hand up on it. He looks awesome holding his sword. Obviously, he looks awesome holding his big, crazy double blaster. You can also go ahead and just stick it on his side right here. You can take that sideways peg on the sword and plug it in here. Again, that's kind of the thing with this guy. There is so stinking much he can do. It's honestly very, very impressive. Like, it's... I'm looking for words here. Obviously, I know, rusty, sorry. But, with this guy, you had what was effectively a deluxe figure being sold, the next price point up. They sold him as a Voyager. And they used the extra budget. He came with a bunch of accessories. I've got a video on him if you want to go watch that. He came with a lot of accessories. He's got way more articulation and stuff than you would normally expect from your standard deluxe. They did that again here. And arguably, they took a Voyager and they didn't just bump it up to leader cost. They bumped it up to commander cost. Which at first sounds insane, but with how posable this guy is, just how much you can do with the trailer, and, I don't even feel bad having gotten rid of, all but these blast effects, because I've still got such a solid, complete package here. Like, this is probably my single favorite Transformer to have come out in all of last year, which is saying something, because we got some pretty cool figures in the Kingdom line. Some of the early, because there's always the one or two figures from next year that come out early. Obviously, that happened with Legacy. We got cool figures in Legacy too, but I think this guy might even be getting re-released in the Legacy box. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Either way, though, me, who is a big fan of Rodimus / Hotrod, this is just like the best thing ever. I am absolutely in love with this figure, all the crap it does. Someday if I let a kid play with it, the kid will have fun because it's a truly playable figure. But then, even for me, the jaded, adult collector, the options I have on just how to, go about posing this guy and getting him set up, I can do so stinking much with him. It's ridiculous. So I know I've been all over the place. I'm sure I missed like 50 different things it can do. Obviously, I can't show you, that you can plug blast effects into the end of the cannon, or here really quick, I'll just say I did it. You can take his weird little smoke things and put them on the ends of his arms so he can, be his own pyrotechnics show. This is the single most playable figure I have ever seen. Like, this thing really does come off as being its own entire playset. And even as, again, adult collector, there's so much fun to be had with this guy. I cannot recommend him enough. Obviously, because he's been out for a while, if you go on like Amazon, he's on sale. Last I saw, he was on sale, so you can get one even cheaper. I love this figure. Is it 100% screen accurate? No, but guess what? It's from the Kingdom line, not the Studio Series line. So, it's not aiming for screen accuracy. But in terms of just being an awesome, G1 style Rodimus, this thing knocks it out of the park. If you want a Rodimus to have your hot rod arise into, this is, granted, there aren't a lot of options, but this is still hands down the best option we could have asked for. I love this thing. Cannot recommend him enough. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble on about goofy things that I like. I will see you guys next time. By the way, just to mention this really quick, I do have a art channel that I post on like once in a blue moon. I knock things over on my desk, and I put a new video out there. So go check that out. Link in the description. See you guys.